I'm taking all the mutes off. All right. So I've got everybody but Coyote and Brian on here, and I'm adding Coyote here as we go, and we should be up and running.
Awesome. What episode is this? 11?
It's
12?
actually 10. I need to change the description too.
Okay.
It is 10. Let's see here, and we've got 400 and 300.
Well, for people who have joined us, welcome to the 10th episode of Shooting the Shift. We have Coyote back. He's here to talk more cars with us. Ravi, of course. And then Brian Gillespie is on his way home, so he'll be joining us shortly, but he'll be in there. And then we've got a few good topics today. But I think since Brian's close, we might just fill this time with other nonsense. But have you had any races since we last talked to you, Coyote, or you guys kind of shut down for the year?
Well, we had another race, but I didn't have to do it because I didn't need the points. So I was like, New Jersey.
Yeah. Why waste the car?
Well, the car's sold already, and I was racing it already sold. Especially not like,
Whoever bought it is very nice.
Yeah, it's a guy that I know. He bought both the street car and the race car together. So yeah, he knows. And I told that was part of the deal. That's why he's not taking it until the end of October, which is like basically now.
Right.
But I was like, yeah, I will sell you these things, but I need to finish my season. He was like, okay. So anything I did, I was gonna be like real liable for.
What are our topics today, Brendan? I actually don't know.
Oh, so our topics today are going to be what project are you most excited for right now? And then what swap in what car would be your all-time favorite and why? And what do you do in your spare time if we get to it?
Okay. Let's get this all updated. Oh,
Well, as for me, though, something that's new is tomorrow my new engine should be showing up.
Oh, nice.
all right.
And, yeah.
Yes,
That's always the goal with that. You
Yeah.
sent it to Facebook, right, Robbie?
I
From
did
Ryan?
send it to Facebook. Yes, I'm seeing if he hasn't
He was
checked.
asking if it was in a email.
No, it's on his Facebook.
Yeah. We don't deal with email.
Email, man. That's what people work through email.
Yeah.
This doesn't work anymore for me.
I engineered for the first time ever at Runoff.
Oh,
I did.
how was that?
Great. It was like the first time working on a car that I thought was worse than my own.
Well, I mean, I guess it's there's always someone better. There's always someone worse.
It was. I wouldn't have taken that car to the grocery store. Like, it was so unsafe, man. It was a
I've seen
Fit,
Oh,
but it had Mazda 2 camber just like shoved up in there with the bolt sitting like that.
yeah.
All right, I'm
Yeah.
finally not distracted anymore. There we go. Okay,
No
so I'm just as soon as Brian gets in there, I'll add him in there. But yeah, awesome. Nice to see you guys again. How was the week going so far?
Well, for me, last week was great because Fred is now back at the shop, so I'm not lonesome anymore.
Not doing Chick-fil-A today, Del Taco.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Good.
yeah. Moving up on the world.
Yeah, I made dinner right before. I got some pasta and whatnot.
Beautiful.
Our shop's doing well, which is great. It was nice and comfy, and it's also funny when someone leaves working and the mood and everything is just better.
Right.
In the shop.
Yeah.
Always-
No, we
Always a plus there.
we understand that. It's the mix really can affect morale, even if somebody is really good at what they do, for instance. But if they have a piss poor attitude and are just shitting on everybody else, it can ruin things a little bit. And then even worse, if they're not doing a good job and they have a piss poor attitude, it's kind of like a double whammy for sure. But having a good
little
mix is
double-edged
important.
sword there.
I always point out that
it's-
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say it's the other thing too. Like they can be great to hang out with not at work. It's just that work is for whatever reason things don't go well.
Right. I always find that if I'd rather work harder with less people if everybody's having a good time than
Yeah.
have to deal with a lot of head-on-head stress and problem solving just before even doing work. It's too much for me. Like that's not worth it to me. It's much better to have a good solid mix of people.
Agreed. Yeah, no, the last 3 days, me and Fred talked about it, and we're going to hold off on hiring anybody, and it's just going to be me and him for a little bit.
There you go. It was just three of you, right?
Yeah, there was three. For a little bit, there was four until Ariel got pregnant.
Right. Will
We
she
were
be
like,
coming back
this isn't
eventually,
good.
or?
We're talking about it. It's the other thing, too. She might stay home for making shirts and merchandise stuff and kind of managing the. We're gonna make a new website that's better than the one that we have now, because the one that we have now, I love getting the emails of people offering their services to fix
Oh my
my
God,
website.
yes.
I'm like,
I get those all
I
the
get
time,
it,
and I'm
but
like, ours is pretty good.
yeah, no, yours is wonderful.
These are very good.
I get mine, and I'm like, fair. I'm not going to argue it, but I don't want to pay for you.
Is your boss a Nigerian prince?
Yeah.
I usually get those.
Where do I wire?
I get a lot of SEO. Oh, we fix your SEO for you. Blah blah blah. Oh, something also happened. For some reason, the restream system isn't working, which is fine because we're not using it because we're not hitting multiple channels. But that also means I can't see if anybody's actually watching or not.
Oh.
I have it pulled up on my iPad.
Yeah, I have it pulled up on here. What was it? Having a last summer tease here after the snowflakes. Oh, Jim going out to the track. It looks like.
Is that Scarpelli? Jim, is that you, Jim Scarpelli?
RWG.
I think that's him. I actually am not actually sure. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone
His
too.
picture looks like a Tacoma. Is that?
I'm gonna watch it ourselves so I can see.
4 degrees.
It's got to be Michigan.
Dude, oh my God! I woke up.
Yep,
and
yep,
it was,
that's Jim Scarpelli. Hey Matt, what's going on, man?
42 degrees this morning, and I was furious. Mostly because I didn't turn on my heater last night. But
All right. Somehow I have adapted to having the same system as everyone else now. I have my phone open to watch my own stream that I'm staring at on my laptop. Yep.
I'm creating a black hole right now.
Oh yeah, infinite. Let's
I
keep
can't
going.
show you, but I have
Just
two,
keep going.
2 windows.
Wow, look at that autofocus. Oh, Brandon, I was going to ask you, what have you seen? What I've been putting together, like with the NS Expo videos and stuff. I'm not sure if you had a chance to watch them yet.
I haven't been able to watch them. I have noticed that you got 4 episodes out. That's all.
I cranked out 4, and that was absolutely nightmarish. Actually, the 4th one isn't coming out till tomorrow. I figured initially.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the post about it.
Yeah, I figured initially that I was just going to do like 2 and break it up into track day, then everything else. But everything else was actually an insane amount of stuff. So I was having to shorten about an hour and a half down into 10-ish minutes for each one, and I could have made a 5th one, but I was like, I'm tired. I'm actually tired of doing this particular topic, so I had to move on with it.
What is it from our local YouTube expert next to our shop? They say that 10 to 15 minutes is kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah.
For length of video, and then if you can have a consistent day, right? Like for us, we're going for 1 consistent post a week, right? And that's how channels can grow.
Right.
According to her, 3 videos or
Brian Gillespie's calling me.
72 hours is perfect.
Hold on, let's see what happens here.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, there's Hi, Brian.
So I got this thing turned sideways, but it's
having a little trouble.
Yeah,
I don't know if the link's working for him.
Brian, did you get that link I sent you on Facebook?
Did you get that thing I sent you?
That's what I used.
Did I think I sent you?
So, but
Harvey
and
Birdman.
then I
love
turned
him.
sideways.
It's been a while since I had a good Harvey Birdman during law reference. Can I stop like callers? Like as soon as I start doing something, they
So
start,
Brian, jump. I don't know. I'm not actually sure. We didn't actually see you jump into the channel ever, Brian. So I'll resend that link on Facebook. Just click it, and then it should ask for a password shift, and then you should pop up on a separate screen for me. But we never saw you.
Yeah.
Well, I did. And
Well, now everybody
I would have
knows
noticed
the
that.
password.
All right, and this is through the iPad.
Yeah,
Okay, well
that's
that
fine.
means we'll
So
have
yeah,
like 45
try
people in here.
try jumping off again. And I'm gonna resend that link one more time. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thanks, man. So that was on Facebook. So he's 'cause I didn't see him pop in. Did you?
No, I didn't see anything change on our side.
Okay.
But
Let me just get
Tim, as you were
him.
saying for the YouTube thing,
Copy the link.
there's like every 2 weeks or a month, like it's one of those things where a week is kind of the longest you want to wait if you're trying to grow a channel quickly. And it's definitely one of those things where at the beginning of a channel, quantity over quantity or quality. Um, just like there's some really big channels right now that film everything with a phone. Like you don't need all kinds of equipment, and it's they have those ones where
Some of them are
it's
pretty good.
just 30 minutes of them struggling with something, and then they make the post about it. So you don't have to try and make everything out to be what is it, like Fast and Loud or any of those other
Production
or
stuff.
roadkill kind of episode. You just got to get
Yep,
something
there's Brian.
going. Hey,
Hey, there's Brian. All right,
Are we
yeah,
in?
now we can see him.
yes, you are.
All right, give me a second. I'll
right.
pull him into the channel. Ah, let's see here. Brian Gillespie, browser. Brian, not visible. Okay.
I can see you, but you can't see me. Am I fairly centered?
You look good now. That's a good spot for you.
All right.
Did you do
Okay.
your wrist?
Um, my wife's out of town. No. I'm kidding. The I've been working on wiring a car. It's like got probably 100 crimps on it, including some fairly heavy ones. So I was doing that Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday I played tennis. Friday morning I was in a tournament, played. Friday night I played. Saturday morning I played. Sunday morning I played. Plus I worked each one of those days. And by
So all I'm
Sunday,
getting
by
from
about
this is you hate yourself.
I just was overuse.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So
Well-
I have to
Oh,
play again Friday, so I'm trying to recover.
At least he's not on the
Hopefully you
Hassport
do.
Wi-Fi.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
And let me pull this up again. So we're going to get into our topics for tonight. And the first one,
Sure.
I'm going to go for mainly Brian and Coyote because I know we've heard a lot about mine and Robbie's opinions, or what's going on too. But so for both of you, what project are you most excited for right now?
And before you start, I'm assuming your phone doesn't have its volume turned up because we're getting an echo on Brian.
Are we?
That's what it
Let
sounds
me
like.
turn my volume down.
Yeah, just turn your volume
No,
down.
it's through my AirPods.
That's what I thought it was through your
My
AirPods.
AirPods.
So that's weird. It might just be an internet thing then, but it sounds better right
Yeah.
now.
I turned it down.
Okay.
Thanks,
Cool. Excellent.
Perfect. Then.
All right. So probably, I mean, there's two of them.
Okay.
I just got a bunch of the measurements for the new Type R and the new Integra Type S, and
Oh, okay.
finished the mounts at about 445.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
We'll put them into production here in the next 2 weeks, and Honda's building a couple of race cars, so we'll probably have them on there as well.
Okay, so
Sweet.
that's the OEM style, but Passport better, going to
Right.
last longer, hold everything else.
Yeah, meant for racing. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I think that's probably one biggie. And then the other one is the other car I'm working on right now is Honda's CRZ, which has an L15 B7 swap, which they are going to present to CARB for
Oh.
certification.
Ooh.
So I'm
That'd be
hoping
sweet.
Like
this
the
next
swap?
year, correct. I'm hoping this
Ooh.
next year is going to be all about CARB legal swaps. So we would like to not just do the L15, but be able to do K series CARB legal swaps as well.
Oh wow, that'll be interesting. So the interesting thing that I want to see is essentially how that CRZ does versus it being a hybrid and then it being an L15B for gas mileage because one,
Yeah.
you're not going to have to worry about a big ass battery for the entire time, and then two, I mean, my mom's 17 Civic, I was bragging a few videos back about getting 56 miles per gallon driving home on cruise control.
Exactly. I mean, Carter used to get really good mileage on his 2016 Sport, and that was even with a tune. Um, I am really curious to see how it does it, and I haven't tried the L15 in the Insight yet, but I'm anxious to try it there as well. I mean,
yeah, because
it will. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
It will fit in the second gen Insight. In fact, we have mounts for that. But the first gen Insight, I would like to. I'm hoping it will fit in that as well.
That'll be interesting because what's the weight difference? Because I know like Civics like my mom's is like 2,800 pounds ish.
And in Insight with an L15B7, you're probably looking at 2,200 pounds. 2,200 pounds.
Oh wow.
Maybe 2,100 pounds.
We did have a good question.
Yeah.
What act of God do you have to go through to carb legal a K swap for an S?
Well, I don't think it's going to be that difficult. I mean, it's just going to require, first off, Honda already has carb legal tunes, stuff that they've tested and had approved from CARB. So it's just a matter of having all the correct devices and then using the same tune. So you're going to need to have OBD2 California level catalytic converter, and then of course vent shut valve, fuel tank pressure sensor, and the other secondary O2 sensor, the other items that are typically found on a an RSX or a TSX or a Accord or whatever.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be terribly hard to do. It should be easy to do.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of the people in the government would be happy to hear that you're doing this.
Well, I'm hoping to open up the California market more, to legal K swaps. So that to me, that's a big market, and those guys love their modified cars. So
right,
and I think a lot more people would do it if they didn't have to do it illegally. So I think that would really help out quite a bit.
Well, yeah. As to the guy that asked the card question, so I'm guessing if you use any ECU that's not an OEM style ECU like an AM Infinity, there's no chance of you getting carb legal.
Yeah, unless somebody was willing to go through the testing process with that.
Oh, that's
which
fair,
would be extensive as well as expensive. That's not going to happen. With Honda, because they're in California and they recognize that market, they've gone to great lengths to make carb legal tunes, and they typically make obviously better horsepower because otherwise you wouldn't do it. But they've gone through the testing to make sure that they did not pollute more, and sometimes they even polluted less than the stock tune did.
Wow.
I could easily see that. Well, let's get to Coyote. What's your project
Hang on just a
right
second.
now?
Aaron just got home and the dogs are going nuts. So
no worries.
Actually, if they're not bugging you, they're not
we're
bugging
good.
me. So
we like dogs.
Okay,
what's your question?
Is this working?
Yeah, you're good.
You're good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I have a phobia of it now. So project I'm most excited about is obviously going to be the Cayman, which I still don't have back from the frame shop yet. Hopefully soon. And it doesn't need
what
much.
What do you have to do with the frame shop?
The rare things smashed in.
Okay.
If there was a joke in there, I completely missed it. So
Robbie thought it was funny. So.
Oh,
yeah,
I've seen the pictures.
Oh, it's not
Can we
bad.
back up a second before you talk about your Cayman? What moved you away from the Honda love?
Oh man, well now I feel like I'm getting ganged up on.
I mean, Brian from Hassport is here, so
It's accepting. I do like Porsches. I just wanted you to voice your actual because I've talked to you about it before, and I wanted to actually have your opinion out there on what the big switch was, because you've been diehard Honda for years, and even when it wasn't working out in your favor, you stuck with them for years.
Yeah. So I believed in the platform because it's a decent platform, and I thought we could do well on it. It just in e-production, it wasn't working. I was already spending Porsche money on B series motors that I was just popping like crazy. So it just got to the point where the car was getting so old and so banged up, and it just like I'm throwing money at this thing, and it's just not working anymore. Um, and I didn't want to, I wanted to go faster. I wanted to have something cooler, and I wanted to kind of chase the dream and get into something neat. And that's sort of what I settled on
Did
because I can't afford a 911.
did any of the did the lack of like I know one of the things locally anyways that affected a lot of folks' choice to run like Honda Challenge for instance was the lack of the HPD support anymore.
Oh, I was getting there. Um, so so Honda, no, Honda doesn't give a shit about us. Sorry, I'm not supposed to swear on this, but at grassroots level, they cut everything.
Well, that's not true. They still do the SCCA stuff, but that's
No.
So that's actually where he runs. Brian is actually all SCCA, and they dropped quite a bit of support over the years for them and NASA as well as.
got it.
I remember that they said something
Yeah,
about
I mean,
it was
compared,
like wasn't it
to, like,
it had to be a year production older, or that was it?
They dropped everything for us now. As far as
Oh.
contingency went, yeah, there's no.
I mean, it's
contingency.
very different than like Mazda. Obviously, Mazda's been doing crazy amounts of stuff. And it's not like you know me, I'm still pretty diehard Honda too, but I'm not doing the Honda Challenge and stuff anymore just because again there was no real incentive anymore versus running regular super touring, you know.
Well, I think, and the big thing with me with HPD, where the falling out really like actually started to happen, is like nobody would get back to me, and it just there was no back and forth dialogue about it. It was no like hey maybe and nothing like no communication on it. But then it like really rubbed me the wrong way whenever they had no contingency, no support, no contact, nothing for runoffs at Indianapolis, and then they used all of our photos for social media.
Ooh, that's kind of
And
tough. I mean, it's definitely I didn't really want to bring it up in terms of like a sore point, but I just wanted to. I was because we've obviously known each other for a long time now, and when we started talking, you were the most diehard Honda guy I've probably ever met. And I'm like, oh my god, and it's kind of hard to watch, it affect you the way it did, especially how much you put back into it all the time.
It bummed me out. I had some things I wanted to prove with the platform that we never really got to be able to do. Whether it's my fault or this
Sure.
isn't an HPD problem, and honestly, and
No,
I know the
no, I
course is
understand.
not going to give a crap about me at all.
No, definitely not.
So let me be totally clear on that. I thought it was a good car, man, but we talked about it, and it just seemed like it was kind of like do the K swap finally, and then we were sort of like in SCCA it wasn't really working, and I'm like, man, the car is pretty used, so it
Sure.
just made sense to change platforms.
Yeah, so there's multiple areas that you were moving out of the platform on. Then basically, that's what I was kind of trying to figure out was it just the support or was it just time to move on? That's what I kind of was trying to figure out with you. So yeah, tell us about your GT4
Yeah, not. Yeah,
or your
it's not
Cayman. Sorry,
GT4, but,
sorry,
yeah,
Cayman.
We can pretend. It's an RSR Cayman. So the Cayman, yeah, it's smushed. I got it for cheap. I got it relatively cheap. I got it for 30 grand. And it was a race ready car, other than the body work that needs done. But the thing I'm most excited about for this is actually getting the aero on this, because I've been working with Johnny from 9 Lives on this. Number one, I'm getting turbo fans, one way or another. They're coming back. So write that down.
I'm
That I
actually
said
thinking
turbo
about
fans are
getting
coming
some.
back. You should. But I'm aiming for around 1,000 foot-pounds of downforce at 140. That would be a cool number to hit. So we're gonna work on some stuff together, and I have a dual element wing that's gonna be cool, and yeah. So I'm pretty excited for that project.
So have you talked to the body shop about repairing that thing yet? Have they given you like ideas of what's going on with it?
They're doing me a solid. It's one of my students from Track Night in America that's a buddy of mine, and he's like the manager of a car dealership body shop.
Mhm.
And he was like, yeah, drag it down here. And I don't want to be like bugging them too much.
Of
'cause
course.
they're doing it.
Yeah.
You
Let
know?
them work.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, and
Aaron is on
I have time, so it's I'm not huge rush. I'm excited to get to it. I got a lot of really cool stuff from Redline too. They sponsor the car, and I don't know if you guys have seen Redline stuff like up close, but it's like
Yeah.
little mini works of art.
Yeah, I
It's
actually
really
sell a bit of Renline through the store. Actually, for they make some other really cool parts that aren't necessarily labeled as Renline. That they own a company called Course Motorsports, which we do a lot of cool stuff with them.
yeah, they're
Cool.
super nice guys. Actually, Brian, if I email Hassport, are you the one who emails me back?
Probably Chris.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
And my
thank you
wife
guys
sometimes.
actually because Hassport actually helped us out a lot getting the Integras ready throughout the years. Like here and there were some discounts and stuff, and we always put you on the car too. So I never really got to meet
Thank you very
anybody
much.
like face to face, but I appreciate it. And nobody makes better motor mounts that I'm aware of
Oh,
for
yes.
any car.
Well,
Ooh, I
it
found a
was
Porsche picture. I'm gonna put this up.
it was two episodes ago when we had Aaron on here because Brian was sick, and I know Brian loves talking about this. Well, doesn't really talk about it, but it's just one to be funny about. When we were talking about how they get so many calls a week because another mount company is so bad that they won't even help their customers
Right.
by answering the phone. So yeah,
Mm.
that's one huge thing why Hassport stands above is they actually care about what we do with our cars.
They do.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
early on, we decided that the one thing that was going to sell more mount kits was more people having successful swaps, because when it all started, you would hand your car to a shop in California, and it would come back 2 to 6 months later, and the check engine light wouldn't be on because they took it out of the dash.
I believe it. I
There would
believe
be an
it.
RPM activated switch for your VTEC, and basically, somebody would, uh, uh, put an adjustable fuel pressure regulator and put a little bit more fuel to it. So that was your modifications.
Yeah,
It was
Hassport has brought the swap game so far
Right.
from what it was in the early 2000s. I'm sure you've seen this where
Do
people tried to do the screw trick on the little diaphragm on the end of the fuel rail to try to add more fuel pressure, but most of the time they actually restrict fuel pressure going in. I actually bought a turboed Integra that was done to, and it wouldn't run right, and the guy traded it to us because nobody could get it to run right, and then we went to the
place
junkyard,
it.
pocketed one of those things, and then came home and the car ran fine.
So I actually
It was
funny.
Yeah.
We mentioned swaps. Like, is there a single other brand that really does swaps like you guys do? Like, I can't really think of another. Like, I can't think of a single. I mean, other than LS swapping everything. I mean, Nissans, I guess,
mean,
SR,
even with that,
RB, but
still there's certain companies, and it's the other thing too where I've had experience where they make something and then you find a real problem and they just go, well, that looks like
Oops.
you did it.
yeah.
Like there was one where it was not lined up on the car really well. It was a subframe for a Miata. It wasn't lined up on the car really well. So he was trying to get it off, and he started smacking it down with a dead blow hammer. And when he smacked it off of the chassis, and it finally broke loose of the chassis, one of the welds cracked, and that piece where it mounts to the chassis bent downwards. And so he sent them the picture, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's something you did. It's not anything that we had to do." And it was like you can see where it ground. They ground the weld off, and it was to a point to where it just was so thin that it wasn't welded anymore. And then it was funny too because he welded it and took a video hitting it with the same hammer like 5 or 7 times, and he posted it, and he was like, "See, this is how it's supposed to be welded."
Dude, I literally just had so on one of the race cars that we're working on here, it's a small production product, and we pulled the splitter off, which has a spacer that has 3 holes in it that go between the transmission case and the splitter, and it's just supposed to be sandwiched in there with the 3 bolts going straight through into the tranny housing and just hold it all together. So we had to drill out one of them because it wouldn't release. So I sent pictures to the guy and I showed him with the bolts in there. It was cross threaded through. He's like, "Oh, those aren't threaded." I'm like, "Well, I understand they're not threaded, but the tranny wasn't cross-threaded. It's somebody threaded the stupid thing instead of making them holes and had the bolts going through them, and then cross-threaded one, and it took me an extra 3 hours to get out. He's like, well, they're not threaded. I'm like, here's a picture of it threaded. I would just like a replacement part. It's no big deal. I'm not BSing you. I'm just, here's the picture. Here's the threads. Here's where the bolt's stuck in it. I had to cut this off. Help. Oh, we don't ever thread them. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can just drill these out then and make them bigger holes because it doesn't really matter. But that was the response I got, and that seems very common. That's, again, Hasport never, ever does that, which is awesome.
I think it's only because, at least with Brian, it seems like you go above and beyond for any kind of R&D.
Well, so first of all, if we do a kit, we want to put it in a car. You know what I mean? And if we have the ability to, we check it in several cars. So because these are old cars,
right?
And we know some of them are bent.
Yeah.
But in spite of that, mistakes get made on occasion. People, you're training a new welder, and they didn't quite pay attention when you were telling them how to use a fixture properly, and so there's a problem. And when somebody calls up and says, "Hey, I have a problem," you say, "Hey, send me some pictures real quick." And sometimes they made a mistake, and sometimes we made a mistake. And if we made a mistake, we send out a new part. But that's just kind of the way it is.
I mean, sometimes chassis are bent, like that one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, actually, what was it? In my wife's car, when we were doing the swap, we got the Hasport mounts for the B series and everything in there, and one of the bolt holes was kind of far off, and essentially, I looked at the car and I went, "Oh, that's right. Someone decided, hey, I need to make room for an intercooler," and completely cut the core support. I was like, I guarantee you this front is now closer together, which is why this bolt hole doesn't line up. So I got some really big pry bars, and I knew, because I've used those mounts I don't know how many times, but I've used those mounts. So I was like, they're right. The car's wrong. And yeah, made it work, and it was fine.
On occasion, that's what it is. We'll see some guy, and they'll be, "Oh, this doesn't work, that didn't work," and we'll get photos of it, and you can clearly see the wrinkle in the frame rail, or the fact that the bracket's been cut off and welded back on again. And it's like, hey, I'm sorry, but this looks like what the problem is. This is the same mount kit we've been selling $60 a month for the last 7 years. Yeah. I'm pretty certain it's not a problem with the mount.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So we diverted from Coyote real quick. So you were talking about your Porsche. So you talked about this with me briefly. So you wanted to run Pikes Peak with that eventually, right?
Yeah, next year we're going to. I'm going to go to GT class next year so I can get it in basically full Pikes Peak trim for the most part. We're going to run the Touring Car Series next year, USTCC again. And then I'm going to mix in some hill climbing, and then I'm going to shoot my resume over, and I'm going to hope for the best for 24 that we get to go to Pikes.
I mean, and that in itself is like an awesome project. I said, we talked about that, and I said, I'm ready to go with you when you're ready. Let's I will. So I guess we'll have to throw my name on that resume too.
Yeah.
But like I said, is Mike Sayers going to still be involved in all that, or?
Hopefully, if he can get off work. He's got a whole ass family, and
yeah.
He's got his brewery rocking, and he's still working his 9 to 5 too. So yeah, he's a busy dude, but yeah, he should be. We have a good little Pittsburgh crew going on here too. We got a lot of guys that have kind of hopped in. In the beginning, it was just me. Now we probably have 10 people like in regular rotation. Like we all race together and stuff now. So
cool.
It's looking good here
right now. I had
now.
touched base on that, and I'm excited to see how that develops.
And, Brian had a question. What was that?
What I was going to say was I was looking at the rules for that. I have a car I want to run at Pikes Peak eventually. And the roll cage rules are pretty extensive in that, as a lot of the other safety rules are as well. Car been tech to that rule set yet, or are there any modifications that you're gonna have to make in order to meet that rule set?
So I haven't had the car physically in my possession long enough to check this.
Okay.
I dropped it off at the frame shop not long after I got it, and then I was like starting to think about doing this and looking at that. And from guys that have been there, that was something that came up too. I'm willing to bet probably that if that cage isn't compliant, it is damn close because it was built at a Porsche dealership and it's really nice. So I'm not sure what else they're going to want. I have to go through the rule book and look at the car once I get it back. But I'm thinking I hope I'm not far off because I'm not cutting that cage out.
When I was reading it, it just was a matter of there were some extra bars in there.
Yeah, like the FIA compliance bars and stuff.
This is overkill, and then I'm thinking, well, rolling down 100.
Yeah,
you of all people know a lot about rolling, Brian, and how violent those rolls can be.
Yes, I do. And when I had my roll cage built, I went to the people that do a lot of land speed racing and said, I want to roll this at 200 miles an hour. Can you make me a cage? They said, yes, we can. And then I didn't mean to test it, but I did. And, it survived. So,
yoink! They said I could do this. It'd be fine.
Yeah, the new one I had built said it's good for 250.
Okay, so perfect, excellent. Right. Let's not test it. Nope.
Yeah.
I don't plan on testing it.
Is that a project that's in the works? Another land speed car?
Yeah, I do. I have another Insight. It's probably a few years out. I have some commitments I have to do before I can start racing land speed racing again. And once I'm ready. That was kind of what I was going to do in retirement, was land speed race. So
retirement.
I figure right now I've got 9 years and 1 month before retirement. So
good.
I got plenty of time to build it.
Plenty of swaps to do still.
I might do some runway stuff ahead of time with that.
Oh, like the Alpha Omega.
The cars, yeah. Yeah, I think that the speed runs at the the runway runs, whatever they call them.
Yeah, like no fly zone and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's
exactly.
Like down at Gila.
Exactly.
It's nice they do them. They do them like twice a year down there too, so they're actually fairly common, I guess you might say, in Arizona, because that Gila airport's never in use. So a lot of opportunities to go out there.
Yeah, it's basically a support airport, runway for Luke Air Force Base.
Okay.
I think they use it when they have like hung ordnance, or some other problem with an aircraft that's down there at the bombing range down there.
So do you have anything in the pipes for Super Lap this year? I know we keep talking about this every year.
Yes and no. I don't think it's going to make it this year, though. Carter's DA Integra.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to put a 650 horsepower turbo motor in that.
That'll be fun.
Quake transmission.
Ooh.
That will be fun.
That will be amazing.
That should be a lot of fun. Yeah.
For sure. Speaking of fun. Carry on. I'll let you finish, then we'll move on to the next one. Oh, it was just the next topic.
Mm-hmm.
So the next topic is going to be what swap in what car would be your all-time favorite and why? We'll go Brian first.
That's
tough.
Gonna
be good.
Yeah, it's so tough.
That's an extremely tough question.
He's like, we've done them all.
Yeah, that's good. That's why it's good.
That's not true. I mean, right? So on my plate for the next year are J Series all-wheel drive in first and second gen CRV.
Okay.
For the purpose of off-roading.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Automatic K Series for the people that have been bugging us for that. Guys that don't like shifting, guys that have injuries that can't shift, women that don't want to do a manual or have an injury and can't do a manual. So we're going to do K Series auto mounts as well. Now, that doesn't particularly excite me. Let me try to think of something. I mean, I am looking forward to building a TSX with a J.
Yeah.
And I think that would be like the ultimate car for the 25 Hours of Thunderhill.
Ooh.
It would be.
Which I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah, it would be minimal shifting. You know what I mean? And I think the engine would be much easier to manage. The only problem with that would be the fuel consumption, I think.
A little bit thirsty.
Saying that, I'm also going to build a K20 C1 or C4, actually C4 swap kit for the TSX as well.
Oh,
So
I'd be interested.
yeah, I think that would be a great car also for 25 hours. The only issue I see with that is transmissions, but and that's based on other people's experiences. So maybe a quaif would be the deal in that, just to prevent that from being an issue, or to help, maybe it not be an issue. I want to build a 1980. Oh, this one I'm
24
excited
hours
about.
of Thunderdome.
Okay.
Not the 80, not the 83 Civic. This one I'm excited about. I'm hoping I can shoehorn a J in my 86 hatchback.
Oh my God.
An SI hatchback, yeah.
Huh?
An SI hatchback?
SI hatchback.
Ooh.
I have an SI hatchback. I bought off a.
Even with the hood open, you won't be able to work on it.
Those engines are compact. They're so compact.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, once you get the intake manifold off, it's not that bad.
Yeah, but I think that a J35 from an Odyssey in that car with a 6-speed manual would be the bomb. It would be so fast, and you would never have to shift. You would take off in second gear, shift to fourth, shift to sixth, and that would be it. So it would just be. I think it would just surprise the snot out of people.
Oh yeah.
And I love the sound of a V6 out of a Honda. It really, really sounds nice. So that one I'm kind of interested in. So
a little bit more tickled than the other ones.
Yeah, that one should be pretty neat. We're trying to set up a build off with Speed Academy. Get them down here. They wanted to do an EF hatchback, and I would do the 86. And obviously, I would have more power, or at least more torque, but they would have a better handling car, so it would be an interesting competition. So it'd be really fun. That one I'm kind of excited about.
Okay.
But,
well,
we're also going to try and put the K20C in as many cars as we can, and the L15, Bs in as many cars as we can.
I mean, Robbie has definitely proven that those are great.
Oh, I love that thing.
Yeah.
It's going back to the dyno finally this Friday to hopefully get the power back.
Solve
the mysterious power only on track, never on dyno situation. But
yeah.
I mean, that thing's rowdy for Tony thinks it's probably right around 320, 330 where it's sitting right now. And I after NS Expo, seeing all the videos of it going by cars, even at 300 horsepower, it just gets up to speed so fast. We were
such a great engine.
We were about 5 seconds faster than that NC1 with Peter in it, which was kind of fun. What's up?
Hey,
What's up, Aaron? Jump on a cell phone.
Yeah.
But
well, Coyote then.
Yeah.
We'll get to Coyote.
He probably wants a K20C in the back of his Porsche.
Oh, definitely. Well, so I'm gonna come from way more out in fantasy land.
Okay.
Quad rotor Formula Mazda.
Oh,
In
a Formula Mazda.
In a
Formula Mazda.
Okay.
So just ditch the Renesis and just throw a quad in there.
Yeah.
That is.
It's a mini Formula One car.
If I ever hear that starting up at 5 in the morning, I will come and just right in the noggin. I don't want to hear that.
My second real car that I would put it on. How about a 914?
Okay.
Quad rotor 914.
So you're going into the quad rotor territory.
I mean, I
You're
can
sticking
definitely
with
tell
it.
this is a fantasy because it's a rotary thing.
It couldn't work, yeah. But I mean, yeah. Listen. All I want to do is drive a Formula One car on the road. So if I can put an engine that sounds pretty close in anything,
yeah, it doesn't cost as much.
It's close.
It still doesn't cost
quite as much. There were some used F1 engines coming up for sale a couple of years ago. I saw. I can't imagine what it would take to get them to work. But
well, I mean, you gotta warm them up before they even turn over. So
the Judd V8s. Did you catch a price?
I think they were less than $5,000.
Have you
That was gosh, that's probably 10 years ago now.
Oh,
I'm sure you've been to King, right?
Somebody had a bunch.
You've been to King Motorsports, right, Brian?
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, they have that old V8 Honda one there, the MF48, I think it is. It's called something like that.
oh, that's right.
It's I don't know if you've ever been up there, Coyote, over the King Motorsports up in it's Wisconsin, right? I believe.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's just south of Elkhart. Because I remember I went there on the way to Road America and checked it out. They actually have the old Honda V8s, Formula One of them sitting there on a display, and it's really cool. And it's like, maybe put that in there.
Yeah.
I just want a 2JZ and a Pinto. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, it's fine too. Yeah.
Just do
at least for me, I'm trying to do like I still want to finish it. I know I've told Brian about it. He probably forgot, but I want to do an all-wheel drive K series in an '84 Toyota Tercel wagon.
Yeah, perfect.
Because it's longitudinal, so the K series will be transverse, and then there's just a huge tunnel that I can put a turbo in there.
It's true.
And if you've ever seen a Toyota Tercel wagon, an '84, if one of those had power, it would be the oddest thing you've ever seen. Because it like the windows on the side of it aren't even the same size. The back window's much bigger. It has weird bubbles in places. Like the roof is like extended upwards from where it stops.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is that car, with its all-wheel drive, solid rear axle, and everything in it out of the showroom floor was 2,200 pounds.
That's
wow.
fantastic.
So getting rid of
I had
the
a
iron
sedan.
block and the solid rear axle and everything, and I have the front suspension of a CRV already bolted on. I just have to start doing the rear, and then I got to put a steering rack in it.
Too funny.
One
So
thing
you shouldn't put the CRV rear suspension in that thing. You should probably go for Miata rear suspension or S2000 rear suspension.
Well, I was thinking about the CRV one because of the diff. Because I got to keep don't I need the same style diff for how the transmission works? No?
It's IRS. You don't need that. It's just a pair of axles connected, so no big deal. So you can do whatever.
Because what's the gear ratio
but
on
solid, you can do anything but a solid rear end. No, you can put the CRV diff back there. That's not a big issue. I'm saying the suspension. Just use the suspension off a better vehicle than the CRV for the wagon.
That's fair.
That way, if you ever decide you want to whip it into a corner, it tracks nice.
Yeah. Well, I will say the one thing that'll be nice with it, the front brakes of the CRV, I got the 12.5-inch rotors. So that on the Tercel is hilarious to see.
Is that tire going to be kind of weird for that? What are you going to run, like a 30 Series 17 or something?
No, actually,
I'm thinking about how big the wheel wells are on that car.
Yeah, no, I could send you a picture, but the fronts I have 17s from a Miata on it, I think, because it's 5x114.3, and it fits decently. I mean, it won't be like super slammed, but
that's cool.
It should be able to turn and everything. The big thing though is trying to keep everything under the chassis, which I don't know if I can do.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's much wider.
That big a wheel and got it tucked in there.
Yeah, side view looks okay.
Well, that's okay. Very good.
I'm surprised just before we move on, like maybe just because I owned one of these, but I'm surprised we don't see more people taking that V8 out of the Maserati that I had and putting it in stuff, because it's like the cheapest Ferrari V8
You're right.
you can buy.
It is.
I'm serious. Like, and the engine was like good. Like, it was really.
No, that's the best part about that car.
Yeah, like they're not that expensive.
Keeps value in that car.
Yeah, like they're not.
You can sell the whole car for 15 grand, or sell the engine for 15 grand.
I think the engines you could get them for even less. If you wanted to go like the 4.2 liter from the first generations, you can get them for like super cheap, way under 10 grand. Like, because they had cam barrier issues. So if you go in and you're willing to fix that, you could slap that thing and almost like LS.
It's so frustrating that Maserati makes such cool looking cars, and a lot of them are Ferrari based power plants and stuff, but somehow the rest of the car falls apart around it.
It's because it's Chrysler.
I didn't know that. I had no idea
it's
Chrysler
a
owned
Cruiser,
it.
dude.
Oh my god. I learned something today.
That's why the car is bad.
It's.
Oh, you wish it was bourbon.
I think I need to drink now.
Yeah, it's Ferrari power plant with like PT Cruiser door switches and stuff.
Oh my
Oh
god, it's the
man.
Crossfire all over again.
Yeah, it's rough. It's a rough.
We
car.
got a
It's by
Sebring
far the
engine.
worst car I've ever owned.
Yeah.
Put a Sebring engine
Way,
in
way,
everything.
All right. Well, we do have a little bit of time. So the last one for today was going to be, what do you do in your spare time? Which apparently for Brian has hurt his wrist. But
He's
what else
always
is there
hurt.
that you do in your spare time?
Well, the YouTube channel
That's true. Yeah.
is a biggie. But I also consider that kind of part of marketing of house sports. So
It's kind of work.
basically, yeah.
Our
It's
lives kind of
kinda-
blend into the same. Personal and business,
Yeah.
when you own a business, doesn't really mean much
Yeah.
anything anymore.
Actually,
Right.
on
Yeah,
something
sure.
different there, I saw something that said, what was it? Jobs should pay you from when you leave your house on the way to your job. And I was like, I never
What?
clock out. Like, who clocks out? What the
You guys are getting paid?
Exactly. But yeah,
Well,
so
right, I
yeah,
have my own shack. It doesn't really count. But yeah.
Wait, all four of us are actually small business owners, if I'm not mistaken. So we all deal with
Yeah.
this. Wow, it's random.
Yeah.
So this free time question is going to be rough.
Yeah, this is.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's like
Well, basically-
I have my little bit of free time for me, but yeah, back to Brian for
I play on 3 USTA leagues for United States Tennis Association leagues,
okay.
mixed doubles, and then do basically that. And then I hit tennis balls occasionally. I taught tennis for 17 years before I started doing all this stuff.
Oh,
So
did not know that.
I was a tennis pro at several of the clubs here in the valley. So that's what I did. So I'm still pretty passionate about tennis. I really, really, really enjoy it. And like I said, it was my living before my wife said, "You need a new job so you're home when your son's here." So that's how
We can
That's
thank
how-
Carter for
yeah.
Hassport as well.
Thanks, Carter.
you can. I went to work for my brother at a salvage yard, Honda Auto
I
Salvage,
remember that
and
place.
I hated it, but everybody was coming to us asking us questions about performance because he had a CRX, a yellow '91 CRX that he was road racing, and I would take it to the drag strip on the weekend, and that got me interested in the whole Honda performance thing, and people just kept coming in, and so eventually we said we need to take advantage of this, and we started Hassport. So,
I used to shop
Anyway.
at Hassport at your auto salvage yard for years. Actually, so that silver Integra you have is pretty much all built out of your junkyard. So
that's funny.
yeah,
Well,
almost all the spindles and all the suspension parts that are on there.
It
That
came
anything
full circle.
anything that's still OEM on that car is 100% from Honda Auto Salvage.
That's funny. I actually had some old parts left over from Honda Auto Salvage. I used on it recently.
Oh, well, there you go. See, I mean,
So,
just keep that
yeah.
that car. You know, as much as that car, I don't know if you know much about the history of that car, but that car gave me a lot of stress over a very large period of time. I actually got a Class 5 felony for owning that car.
Oh,
Yeah, it was good
Oh, wow.
stuff. Yeah,
Wow.
it got towed because my buddy parked it illegally, and then
uh-huh.
I went and pulled it out of the yard, paid my ticket and all that stuff, and there was some filing error, and I ended up getting charged with possession
Oh.
of police goods. I was like,
Oh.
so, and you know, I'm being young and naive. I thought, oh, it's some paperwork, we'll get this cleared up. No, thank you, Arizona. Class 5 felony for stealing my own car.
Wow.
I got it dropped
Wow.
and dropped to a misdemeanor. Yay! I got a misdemeanor for
Yeah,
stealing
like,
my own car.
It still wasn't my
And
fault.
it eventually got set aside. But that car, I didn't have possession of it after I think 2008, and I got it back. So in 2008, it was towed. It had a fully built B18 C5 with a full race turbo kit.
Mm-hmm.
Everything inside of it was ITR. It was a gorgeous car. Everything around it was Mugen. All the Mugen parts were on it. And then once they took it, that court case, I don't think it was cleared up until maybe 2013, roughly. And
Wow.
they said, "Oh, come get your car." After all, I'm like, "Okay, I'm coming to get my car! Yay, excited!" And actually, my car had been there so long, it was on Google Maps now. I could see it in the police yard. You can see this little silver car, and then there was a pickup truck parked on the front of it, essentially. But when I got it back, they neglected to inform me that it no longer had any powertrain components. So they came
What?
out. It came out on a forklift, and they dropped it on the ground and said, "Get it out of here." And I'm like, "Awesome, thanks."
Thanks, government.
So yeah,
Wow.
that's why that car is a race car now, Brian, is because it was absolutely trashed by Arizona PD.
Wow. I remember for a while we used to work with a guy who was with the National Insurance Crime Bureau and also with Phoenix
Barbin,
Highway Patrol on how. Pardon me.
was it Detective Barbin? He was a really nice guy. That he's actually saved my butt and a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, that's who it was, and
Super
he
cool guy.
had been doing quite a bit of training on how to recognize stolen vehicles and
Yep.
stuff, or stolen engines and things like that. So we would when people would we would get cars in sometime, and before we could sell the motor, we would have him check to make sure it wasn't a stolen
Right.
motor.
Yep.
It was an engine swap car. Make sure it wasn't a stolen motor out of something else.
So funny story is
yeah,
he got involved with my whole situation and proved that I didn't, and that's when everything disappeared.
Oh,
Of course.
They
right?
swept that one
Well-
under the carpet.
Before we end, Coyote, do you have anything you do on the side, just for fun, or?
I don't know if this counts or not, but I've been really into reading lately, and I have been since I did the engineering kind of gig at Runoffs. I talked to Andrew Rains before that, the Apex Pro,
Oh, love that guy.
and got really into like learning how to actually use data.
It's fun, huh?
And oh, it's awesome. So I have a bunch of books right now on data stuff and aerodynamics, and yeah, I'm going crazy. So that's what I've been doing when I'm chilling, most of the time, which is still this, but this is it.
It doesn't
this
really
is really the free
stop.
time. No, it doesn't stop.
No.
I mean, but this isn't work,
The closest thing I have to free time is I literally just go to the racetrack and drive, which is kind of the same thing to me. It really doesn't
I
seem
might be
to
the
stop.
only one running a business that's not automotive related.
That's true.
Fair.
So to me, I don't come home and I'm like, oh, cool, more cars.
That's
Like,
true.
like. So
I don't work
I
on
can
my
stay
car
pretty
anymore.
fresh. Well, that's
I wish.
I paid the guys
Yeah.
that do it. I actually made them pull my car in today. I'm like, I don't want to. Just you pull it in. I'm not dealing with this crap.
Well, I mean, like I told you, my new engine's going to be showing up tomorrow.
Oh,
and,
excellent.
I get to start getting ready for bringing back
Honda
essentially
Challenge.
our gentleman's agreement Honda Challenge.
So it's Jake
And then,
Cooper is one of the 3 that was registered this week, and he's going to stay with ST4.
Yes.
And then the other one, so obviously Gabe, and then who was the other guy? There was someone.
Gabe told me his name. I can't. It's in the email somewhere.
Is it?
Um,
But yeah, he said there's
But yeah,
3,
that-
maybe 4.
yeah, I'm the 4th.
Oh, I remember. It was Marcos. They're going to take the. They're going to all
Yes.
up class to H1 is what it was.
Yep.
And
So
that
we're
way
gonna have a gentleman's agreement to H1, and essentially, it's gonna be somewhat close to us being an ST4, but because you get like better tires
Right.
and stuff like that through the Honda Challenge contingency, we're going to kind of
So-
use that.
As all the cars are not actual H1
So-
cars, does that
so
mean?
talk to me about
yeah.
this. I'm sorry.
hmm
Give me more information about what you're doing.
So
You guys
essentially,
are going to build H1 cars and be
well,
H1
we're taking
H2
we took
cars.
kind of H2 rules for the most part, and then I think it was 25%ed the power to weight ratio smaller for
Mhm.
our H1, and it's going to be less restrictive than what actual Honda Challenge would be. And the other thing that I got to do is I got to get some 8-inch wide wheels because right now I have 9s, but we're going to run 8-inch wide wheels with 225s, which is better than H2. And our powder, like essentially, so my power to weight ratio, I'm going to be 2206 is what I weighed at my last event with me in the car
Mhm.
after it or after the race, and that'll give me 215 wheel. And so I got a 3-lobe VTEC K24A, which should be pretty
can
easy
easily
to
tune
make,
to that. Yeah.
to make 215 and or maybe have like a little bit of a plateau at the top.
Yeah, you make 230 and then tune it down.
Exactly, because Gabe actually made 230 in his, and then Jake made
Yeah.
224 or 226 or whatever it was.
Right.
And so it's going to be one of those things where like we're going to be. Gabe wants to do it so that more people will want to come to Honda Challenge and race with us, because all of the old Honda Challenge was so strict that
Yep.
it wasn't fun anymore.
I wanted to do Honda Challenge with my car, but I was the
Yeah.
only H1 car.
There was too many classes. First of all, there should have been 2 classes, not 4.
Right.
And maybe 2 classes plus like an unlimited Honda. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, not that there would have been a bunch of people in the unlimited Honda class, but there just should have been
A catch-all.
something that people who wanted, somebody who went a little too far with their Honda or wanted to be the fastest guy track and also wanted to own a Honda.
That was
me.
So,
Yeah,
like a
'cause
Tage.
Yeah.
The like H2 was definitely really nice, and it wasn't terrible. But then they put in the horsepower cap, which literally just took people out of it from that.
Right.
And the horsepower cap, granted, we had some good racing with it, and whatnot, but it started taking more away from the fun of just getting your swapped Honda and coming out.
Right.
And that's also
So
one
I
thing
need
where. What were you
I
saying?
need to build my L15B7 powered Integra to run with you guys.
Yes.
Down.
I want to see that car out again.
I know. I don't think the rules have anything for an L15 swap, but they have them for the L15 cars. I'm pretty sure, because I'm sure they've been running them in the East Coast. So that's something that we could talk to Gabe about, and it's essentially gentleman's agreement. So if something doesn't seem fair, we'll talk about it and figure out what's going on there.
Well, that's what. That's kind of what they do at Grid Life. They sit there and go, "Oh, you're dominating. You get rewarded.
You get an extra 50 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Congratulations. Here's your prize. It goes in your car.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Hold
so
it
that's
safe,
like
so it doesn't kill you.
That's right.
That's my excitement for right now, is trying to get back into racing. And then I do have that I call it the purple Miata. It's not my daily that I've done, but it's like I don't know, I bought it for like $1,200 with a smashed front end, and me and a buddy built it back together running, and fixed the bodywork ourselves and everything like that. And we want to get that out running with Pro Auto, because he hasn't done very much consistent tracking, so he's not going to be able to like jump into NASA and start racing. So we wanted to do that and get that. Other than that, I play video games.
That's not a. Is it Gran Turismo or Forza? Because that does not count. Then.
Actually, I mean, I do have my sim rig for iRacing, but I need to fix it so I can get back into that, which will help with coming back to Honda Challenge. But the game I play is actually pretty much as far away from what I do on the day-to-day basis, kind of to, I don't know, bring me back or whatever, to give me a break.
Sure.
It's called Monster
Mario
Hunter.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
like,
actually,
Modern
the shirt
Warfare.
I'm wearing, so this is the Meowscular chef. And he's a buff cat person chef that cooks food for you before you go out and fight these monsters.
Well, I play Little Big Planet, so I feel you.
Oh, I've played Little Big Planet.
I love that game.
Game's definitely addictive.
Very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I will tell you. So I've had many characters in Monster Hunter, and the one that I've kept the longest has almost 1,400 hours.
Jesus.
So it's been a few
Jesus.
months.
Well, guys,
I should hope so.
we're hitting 7:05 here.
Not a month.
We can do this all night, I know. So we'll wrap it up here. And Brian, it was a pleasure having you on. Hopefully you'll join us again in the future.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, we like having you on, and like I said, we'll hope to get you and Aaron together sometime. We're still working on possibly getting our studio over here set up to where we could all be in one place. Sometimes that makes it easier too. We just got to get our
Tuesdays right now. I might be able to make the trek.
Ooh, that would be pretty sweet if we did it all get us all in one spot. I'm working with Brian about getting the mixer set up so that we don't all have to use headphones and it'll actually work properly. And obviously,
Yeah.
Coyote, thank you for joining us late night as always. It's always a pleasure to have your
No
input,
problem.
and
Thanks for having me.
we look forward to seeing progress with your projects as the weeks and months roll by. And thank you,
Yeah,
Brandon, as
me too.
always.
Always.
It looks like you just woke up, Brandon. To be fair, I know it's your day off,
know,
but
Yeah, I've had this on most of the day, so
fair enough.
and just taking care of the. I actually sent away pictures because having an acre isn't fun when it's all covered in weeds. So I have my
Do you have those
my
goat heads?
landscaping guy. No,
Oh,
I'm
thank
so
God.
happy. My old
Those are
house
the
had the
devil.
goat heads. Although I have that like yellow grass, and our poor corgi isn't tall enough to get out of it, so she's literally stabbed all of the time when she goes to
Oh
the
my
backyard.
God. Well,
So,
guys, again, thanks for watching. Looks like we actually had more people on the chat than we ever have in the past, so that's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
So hopefully we'll
we
see.
definitely thank Aaron for talking to people while we were talking to
Yeah, Aaron was doing a great job. I'll try to figure out why our live chat didn't work on our end, but we'll figure that out for next time. But you guys have an excellent evening, and we'll catch you guys soon. Thanks very much.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye, guys.
See ya.